You might be too busy doing the thing right now to actually measure the thing right now, which is leading to wasted energy and not results. I've been running across this left and right. You might be posting on 4 platforms or 5 platforms, 6. And if somebody asked you right now, which one of those platforms or which one of those behaviors is bringing in clients, most of us would go quiet. Not because we're lazy, not because we don't know what to do, but because we've been too busy doing the thing to measure the thing. And that thing has been changing drastically. I haven't been on Instagram or Facebook in almost 5 months, and my business grew anyways. And I'm seeing this across the board because the market is shifting. And so today I'm giving you the honest framework to figure out what's exactly working, like what's actually working and what you need to stop to build and scale your business. So let's get into the show. And if this show has helped your business at all, I mean this, I'm going to ask at the front, if you could just leave me a review, it's how new people and how new entrepreneurs find this show. That would mean the world to me. So let's dive in. I want to ask you a genuinely honest and potentially confronting question. And I want you to actually answer it. Maybe you're driving in the car, maybe you're sitting at your desk, but I want you to answer it out loud and honestly and not just think about it for 2 seconds and move on. Okay. So here's the question. How many marketing channels are you currently active on? How many marketing channels are you currently active on? So what's a marketing channel? YouTube, podcast, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Okay. How many are you currently active on? And of those, how many of them are actually working? Not like kind of working, not like I think it's building, not I posted 3 times last week, so I'm not sure yet, but actually working, producing real results. Excuse me. Apparently, I'm allergic to good questions. But I want you to understand real results, right? Conversations, like how many of them are creating conversations or leads or clients or revenue, but something that you can actually point to and say that came from here. And if you went quiet for a second or you sneezed like I did, you are not alone because I'm walking through this right now. But a lot of conversations I've had recently with entrepreneurs and clients are on 3, 4, 5, 7 channels, posting, emailing, recording, engaging. And then when you ask them which one is actually moving the needle, they get a little uncomfortable because the honest answer is they don't know. They've been too busy doing the thing to measure the thing. And I want to fix that today because in the world that we're operating in right now, there's a lot of changes happening really quick. And attention is the scarcest resource on the planet. And being on every channel is not a strategy. It is a distraction dressed up as hustle. And so I want to talk about what's happening in the world that I see as a coach, but also in my personal stuff. Because when we look at the environment, it's important to understand what we are up against when we're talking about what our strategy or what our plan is for social media or for marketing. The average human attention span online is now 8.25 seconds. 8 seconds. In the year 2000, 20 something years ago, I think it was like 12, 13 seconds. And it's just been declining and declining and declining. And it's important to understand. In 2004, people spent on average 2.5 minutes focused on a single screen. Now it's 47 seconds. And now over half the people surveyed, when they look at this, 52% people admit that they skip videos longer, ready, than 60 seconds, even when the topic genuinely interests them. So when we think about an average user, they are exposed to over 5,000 pieces of content every single day. 5,000. And if you're sitting there trying to figure out how to get them to stop and pay attention to yours, that's not just a content quality problem. There's an environmental problem happening. And when we think about what it takes right now to win or succeed, it's not the ones that are doing more or posting more. It's the ones that are doing less better in the right places. Because when we think about a world where all of our clients, all of our friends, even us are drowning in content, the clarity of what channel we use is a competitive advantage. Us knowing what to use is a competitive advantage. I have a former coach I got an email from this morning, and he's like, "You saw me on Instagram 19 times in 2025. And you know what happened? My business grew 70% because I emailed people and I connected with them in person." That's having channel clarity. I know for me, I haven't actively been on Facebook or Instagram since December. We're going on 4 months. My business has grown, my clients have grown because the channels that work for me are text messages, phone calls, and in person events. And so we have to make sure that we understand the ecosystem, but that clarity is what we're after. And one of the things that I see happen so constantly is that an entrepreneur, right? Anybody decides that they need to grow their audience. So they look around at what everybody else is doing. They're like, okay, I need to be on Instagram. I need to be on LinkedIn. I should probably start a podcast. And TikTok is where everyone is going. So I'll add that. And I heard that email is still the highest ROI, even though some people say it's dead, but I'll do that too. And within 2 to 3 months, they're all drowning. They are completely underwater. You're producing content for 5 different platforms. None of it's consistent. None of it is strategic. All of it feels like a performance. And you have no idea if any of it is working because you actually never defined what working was in the first place. And then you hear about a new platform and you're like, oh my God, I have to add that too. That is not a strategy. It's a panic response. And then it's dressed up as hustle. We're like, oh my God, new. Okay, I'm going to go grind really, really hard. And it's just hustle. And what it really, really is it's channel anxiety, right? It is channel anxiety. It's the fear that the place that we're not showing up is the place where all of our clients are hiding. That's channel anxiety. It's this unseated fear that we have that every client that I've ever been looking for in my life are hiding on that one platform that I'm not using. And it couldn't be further than the truth because it genuinely drains us and kills us and leads to a kind of exhaustion that isn't even from doing hard things. It's actually from doing a ton of busy work or medium things that have absolutely no payoff. Because if we're trying to be everywhere, it's not presence, it's just noise. And noise does not build trust. And trust is the best lever in business right now. It always has been, but it's making a resurgence because of all this noise. And so I want to take you through how to actually validate a channel. I want to give you a simple, honest, easy way to know whether a channel is worth your continued investment, your time, your money, and your energy, or whether it's just keeping you busy. And none of it is guessing. But the key word here is experimentation, that we have to try. It's not I'm committed forever. It's not strategy. It's experiment. Because the only way to know if something works, especially in a market that is shifting as fast as our current market, is to test it in a container. What do I mean by container? That it has a deadline, it has parameters, and that it's measurable. It's not that I'm going to throw 6 months of energy at it and hope that something sticks. And so I'm going to take you through a couple really simple steps to be able to do this. And there are 4 steps for you to be able to know and define what platform is worth it. Which one should I be using? Which one is actually moving the needle? So step number 1 is you actually have to define what working means before you start. And everybody skips this step, myself included. We get on a platform, we get on a tool, we start posting, and we actually never decide in advance what the win looks like. So what we end up measuring are the wrong things. We're like, oh, well, I got more likes, or I got more followers, or there's more impressions. And then we convince ourselves that those signs of traction when they're not. Because what we actually need is conversations, leads, or sales. So we're measuring the wrong thing. And so before we invest a single moment of thought into a new channel, we have to write down the answers to these questions. And question number 1 is, what would this channel need to produce in 60 days for me to call it a success? What would the channel need to produce in 60 days for me to call it a success? Not a follower count, an actual outcome for the business. Maybe it's a number of conversations that you have. Maybe it's a number of people who took a next step with you. Maybe it's a number of people who sent you a DM and wanted to get on a call. But you have to define it before you start, so you're not making it up as you go and you keep repeating the process. So that's step number one, is answer that question. What would this channel need to produce in 60 days for me to call it a success? What would my live event that I want to do need to produce for me to call it a success? What would that podcast that I want to launch need to produce for me to call it a success? What would me going on a podcast tour need to produce for my business to know whether I should keep doing it or not? That's step number one. Step number two is you have to run a contained 60-day experiment, not a forever commitment, not a never-ending door that just keeps going, but an actual contained experiment. And then you don't have to treat every single channel or every single idea like a marriage on day one. But most people do. They make this mistake. They're like, okay, I'm going to be on this channel. So before they make their measure and before they run an experiment, they build systems around it. They tell their audience about it. They rearrange their whole week, their whole schedule, their whole business around it. And then when it doesn't work, it ends up feeling like you failed instead of just learned. And then you have sunk cost bias. But you have to treat these experiments like they're a date, not a wedding. Give it 60 days. Show up consistently, not perfectly, but consistently. And do the thing that you said you would do at the frequency you said that you do it. And at the end of the 60 days, measure against the outcome that you defined in question number one. If you did this for 60 days, did it produce what you said you needed it to produce? Yes or no? That's the whole question. I went on 16 podcasts in 2 months. I showed up, I added value, I gave away free resources, I gave away a lead magnet. Did I get any calls booked? Because the answer to my question one was, did I get calls booked? The answer was no. So that's all I'm looking for in step two. Did it produce what it needed to produce? Yes or no? That brings us to step three. And step three is about measuring the right things. This is probably going to upset a few of you. Vanity metrics will lie to you every single time. Likes will lie to you. Reach will lie to you. I've seen people personally, 50,000 followers, 500,000 followers who can't sell a $97 product. And I've seen people with 800 followers who are turning away clients. I know somebody right now who just has a podcast and an email list, and she does multiple 7 figures a year and works 4 hours a day. The size of the audience is not the point. The quality of the connection is. The relationship is. The trust is. The rapport is. So what does measuring real connection actually look like in your business? It's different for everybody, but I'm going to give you an overview. Like, check how many DMs you get. Check how many people reply to your comments or to your posts. Count how many booked calls you have. Look at how many people responded to your email, not just opened it. Those are signals. That's actually where the truth lives. It's not in your impressions dashboard or how many likes or whether the line is trending up. Yeah, to some degree to brand awareness, but that's actually not going to move the needle in your business. But if people are stopping, if they're responding, if they are taking a next step, then you're onto something. If it's all silence and the numbers look good, you're actually talking to an algorithm, not a person. You're playing the wrong game. You're playing to the platform instead of the person, because the metrics that actually tell you something, right? Like, how many real conversations did this channel start? How many people reached out after I was on that podcast? How many people replied, booked, bought, referred, shared, mentioned, thanked me? Like, those are the signals, because everything else is noise. And we convince ourselves that that data is good. But if we owned a restaurant Would we be celebrating how many people saw the photo of our menu online and didn't come in and eat? If we had an empty restaurant, would we care how many people saw the recipe? No. How many people saw the photo of their plated food? No. We wouldn't even care how many reservations were booked if those reservations didn't show up in person, right? What matters in a restaurant is plates of food in front of people eating it and enjoying it. All the rest of it is just noise. So what we need to measure is like, of those things that we did, how many people came in? How many people ate? How many people came back a second time or a third time or told somebody else? That's step 3. And then step 4, we need to make a clean decision and honor it. Because at the end of our 60 days, or maybe if it's in 30 days for you, you really only get to make one of 3 calls or one of 3 choices. Number 1 is you double down. You're like, this is working. I'm going to floor the gas pedal and give it more. This is working. I'm going to prioritize this to be number 1. That's step number 1, right? That's decision number 1. You double down. Decision number 2 is you adjust. You're like, this channel, like it has potential, but the approach needs to change. And you actually have to define specifically what changes and retest it. You're like, God, me going on podcasts is actually really, really great. This is happening and this is happening. But after those conversations, they gave me some feedback. I need to adjust how I'm doing it. Or maybe you're like, the podcasts are working, they're working great, but I don't have the energy to double down on them anymore. So I'm going to stay consistent, but I'm going to try to change the schedule of my day. I'm going to stack them all in 1 day or 2 days, right? So you adjust. Option 1 is you double down. Option 2, you adjust. And option 3 is bye. You exit it. It didn't produce. It didn't work. You're not going to keep doing it out of guilt or fear of missing out or sunk cost bias. Because when we think about the exit option, it's the one that makes people the most uncomfortable for some reason. But stopping something that isn't working is not quitting. It's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. It's one of the most strategic moves that you can make. Because every single time you stop something that isn't working, it frees up your time, it frees up your energy, and it frees up your attention to be able to do the thing that's actually moving the needle, that's aligned with where you want to go. So like cutting a channel that isn't working isn't failure, it's focus. And it's focus based on data, and focus is how you win. And what we all want to do is win. We want to grow the business, or we want to sustain the business. We want to scale the business. Well, we can't do that by doing everything. If I own a restaurant and there's 10 dishes on my menu and 8 of them get ordered consistently, 2 of them get ordered more than anything else, and 2 of them never get ordered, why would I keep stocking the ingredients and doing the prep for those 2 recipes that never get ordered, where if I cut them off the menu, I could prep more for the 2 that get ordered more, I could be faster, and I could serve more of them? Because that's what we're really after in business. And so I think that there's something even more important underneath all of this that I don't want anybody to miss. Channels are not the point. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, email, they're not the point. Relationships are the point. A channel is just the vehicle. It's the road, but it's not the destination. Because what we're actually building, the thing that determines if any of this works for us in our business, in the short term or in the long term, is trust. And trust doesn't come from volume. It doesn't come from likes. It doesn't care about it. It doesn't care how many platforms we're on. It doesn't care about how beautiful they are. But trust comes from showing up consistently, being authentic, saying something real, and making people feel like you actually see them, that you care about them, that you're connected to them, that you were actually in their corner. And for me, this is a reminder that I come back to often. Most of my businesses that I've built or rebuilt, or the ones that I'm consistently scaling with clients, have all been built through one-on-one conversations and email, either personal email or work emails, like broadcasting out in Kit. And it's not because I didn't know about the other channels, but I can build depth and connection on those platforms that I can't anywhere else. And so the depth of that connection has been way worth any more than the reach or the width that I could get anywhere else. And I'd make that same call again today. Even when I came from food blogging to this, I had no website, no social media. It was just phone numbers and emails. And the biggest business that I've ever scaled and the fastest I've ever scaled it was based on relationships. And I'm going to stick to that because it's happening again in 2026. And that's what people are demanding. People want trust. People want depth. People want results. They want connection. But you can't automate that and you can't spread yourself thin and create that. So I'd make the same call again, and I am making it. I was on a call yesterday with a guy who just exited $1 billion business partners with Tom Brady and Tiger Woods, and they want to build an app together. And my favorite part at the end, he's like, I realize now that the thing that you do is so powerful. How can we do the unscalable things to make an even bigger impact? People know we get to play the game. I've said it 1,000 times and I will keep saying it. No matter which way we slice it, relationships will always beat algorithms. Relationships are the thing that we are after. So the entrepreneur, the person, the business owner, the coach that has 500 people who genuinely trust them, who believe in them, will always outperform the one that has 50,000 people who don't know them. That's it. It's simple math. So when you're choosing your channel or when you're choosing where to spend your time, the question isn't just like, where is my audience? The deeper question is, where can I actually show up as myself consistently, congruently, in a way that builds real connection? Because that's the channel that will work. And it's not because of the algorithm, it's because of you. And so when you really, really think about where do I spend my time, the best channel or the best platform is the one where you can be the most authentic, because anything else is just broadcasting and it's not going to work. And so I want to just summarize all of this to land the plane. I want you to use it this week. Pick one channel that you're currently questioning, just one. Write down what it would need to produce in 60 days for you to call it a success. Or maybe it's 30 days. A real business outcome, not a vanity metric. Commit to showing up on it consistently for those 60 days at a frequency that you can sustain. And not every day if that's not real for you, but whatever you say, do it. And at the end of the 60 days, measure against your outcome. You either double down, you adjust, or you exit. Clean decision, no guilt, move forward. And while you're doing that, if there's a channel that you already know isn't working, give yourself permission to stop right now. Just stop for 60 days today. You don't need 60 more days of data to confirm what you already know. Trust yourself, exit clean, and put that energy somewhere it can actually grow, because you can come back to it, you can reopen it, you can rehash it. And I promise you, you're going to go through this cycle 100 times as an entrepreneur online. But I want you to remember this, because the market is moving fast, and attention and trust are the scarcest things on the planet right now. The attention, because it's so fleeting, and underneath it, we need it to get the trust. And if you want to win in this market and in this environment, it is not about width. It is not about doing the most. It is about depth. It's about being really intentional about where you show up, why you show up there, and what you're actually trying to build when you do. You do not need to be everywhere, but you need to be somewhere that matters consistently. And it has to be authentic. It has to be real. That's the whole picture. If you do one channel right, maybe that's email, maybe that's your podcast, maybe that's Instagram, but with full presence, like all of you, it will always outperform 5 channels with divided or scarce attention. And so that is my invitation for you. And I want to know how this landed. Tell me, DM me, text me if I can help you with this. I'm doing this with clients right now. I'm doing this myself, because being adaptable, being quick, and then going deep where we can is what's going to win the game. And so this is my invitation for you. So I wanted to share this. I hope you have a beautiful day. Remember that relationships will always beat algorithms. I will either see you in the next episode or you will hear me in your earballs, but either way, we out.